Listen to the Gospel of Jesus Christ according to St. Mark, the first chapter.
Glory to you, O Lord.
As soon as they left the synagogue, they went with James and John to the home of Simon and Andrew. Simon's mother-in-law was in bed with a fever, and they immediately told Jesus about her. So he went to her, took her hand, and helped her up. And the fever left her, and she began to wait on them. That evening after sunset, the people brought to Jesus all the sick and the demon-possessed. The whole town gathered at the door, and Jesus healed many who had various diseases. He also drove out many demons, but he would not let the demons speak because they knew who he was. Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Simon and his companions went to look for him, and when they found him, they exclaimed, "Everyone is looking for you." And Jesus replied, "Let us go somewhere else, to the nearby villages, so I can preach there also. That is why I have come." So he traveled throughout Galilee, preaching in their synagogues and driving out demons. This is the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
You may be seated. Okay, have you ever walked along a busy street or a busy sidewalk, perhaps, with a 3-year-old? Yes, a toddler maybe. You hold their hand tight, right? For a couple of really good reasons. First, it's kind of cool just to hold that hand and walk around. You know, that little hand of yours, and you hold on tight, showing that love. But there's a second reason, a safety issue. Right? If they turn loose, they might go running into the road that you're walking alongside, or, could be a lot of traffic out there. Plus, even on the sidewalk, there may be a lot of people, some of whom might be strangers. You're not supposed to just talk to strangers like that, or start walking away with them. There can also be big dogs, or like rocks that you could trip on or fall onto, or holes that could cause you to trip. It's good to have a hand to hold on to. And you want to hold on to those kids tight, don't you? A third reason might be that if you don't hold on and keep them moving forward, they get distracted by stuff. Oh, look at this. I'm going to make something over here. You got to keep them moving sometimes, or you'll never get to where you're trying to go. Plus, things that distract them, they could possibly do some damage to, or could also hurt them. So, what if they sit on an anthill? Ouch. Depends on the ants, I guess, but at least ants in your pants, which wouldn't be too fun. But you might also walk on somebody's flower garden, or how about step in something? Did you maybe get one on your shoe? Worse yet, pick up something off the ground and start eating it. That would be bad, right? Oh. So we gotta shield them from that kind of stuff. Finally, there might be one more reason that you want to hold a toddler's hand. There might be some really amazing stuff to see out there, and you want to make sure they don't miss it. Like, look, butterfly. Or look, that red cardinal bird. Wow. Or, hey, look at that really weird worm on the ground. That is really strange. Check that out, don't you? There's so much to share, so much to show as you walk along the way, the sidewalk or life. I remember when my kids were little and the weather was nice, we might stop for a while and pick dandelions and, just blow them. Not on our yard, of course. But just blow the dandelions around. Let those fly through the air. Or just find a stretch of grass and lay on your back and look up at those summer clouds and see shapes of animals in them. Who's done that before? Well, when you do it as a kid or with a kid, it's even cooler, right? Because they've got great imaginations. They see all kinds of things. And it is great. It's moments that we cherish. But those moments, they don't last forever. kids grow up. And those kinds of hand-holding moments become fewer and farther between. Even as toddlers, they're sometimes wiggling to get out of your hand, right? Especially if it's pandemonium and one of those busy things. They want to go off and do something. But then they become preteens, teens, then young adults. And every kid is different. Sometimes they still want to take your hand and walk with you, even when they do get older. Get up that kind of moment of love. Yeah, mom's hand, dad's hand isn't so bad. But at 15 or 20 or 30, they just don't need to hold your hands anymore to cross the street. They get that. And that's a good thing, really. We know it is. We know our role and our goal as parents is to raise them up. And then we have to let them go. Turn them loose. That's our job, to nudge them out of the nest. Why? So that they can make their own way in the world. They can find their own place, their own life. And one more reason, one undeniable fact. We will not be here forever. One day we will be gone for good, and they will be on their own, so we have to move them towards being turned loose. So how is this different, this kind of being a parent and the role that we have to play, how is this different from our Heavenly Father and us? Our relationship with God, our Father. Well, God really never wants to completely turn us loose. Oh, sure, we're out there, but He is always there to help us out. And He is the one who can never, ever go away. What did we just hear? What did Deborah read for us from the prophet Isaiah, that first reading this morning? Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. Now, when Isaiah reminds us these really beautiful words, check out the number. Go back and read it later today in your Bible. Or pull out a Bible here, even in the service, and look at this. Is that God is with us every day, at every moment in our lives, from before the cradle to beyond the grave. Yeah, God is with us. He's reaching out a hand and holding us. His hand is always there. That hand is sometimes pulling us up, sometimes nudging us forward, carrying us when we're ready to collapse, clapping for us, patting us on the back when we do good, or tapping us on the shoulder when we doze off. Not the choice. But yes, we all get that exhaustion where we need a little tap on the shoulder to wake up. Or pointing and leading the way, and always, always, always reaching out to us and ready to draw us close back to Him. Yeah. Here's another fundamental difference between the two kinds of parents. Our earthly parents teach us things so we can learn to do them independently, on our own. Because yes, they won't always be there to do them for us. But our Heavenly Father teaches us and lets us go out to try things on our own, but also, many times, to try things and realize that we can't do many things, perhaps most things, completely by ourselves. We can't. We really can't. You know, one of my favorite comics is this guy named Ryan Regan. I don't know if you know him. Hey, parents out there, clean humor, yeah, right? But very, very funny. And he has this routine in which he says, why is it that when we're little kids, it's a good thing to say, Daddy, look, I did it all by myself. Mommy, let me do that. I want to do that by myself. But then, when we get older, It's like we have that great song, all by myself, don't wanna be all by myself. You know the song? Yeah. Brian Regan's got a good point. The song has got a good point. We go through life, from childhood to adulthood, working, yes, towards greater and greater independence. But ultimately, it's not really entirely what we want. It really isn't what we need. In fact, one of our greatest fears in life is that we will be all alone, facing the world all by ourselves. Many of us find ourselves forced to go it alone. We've lost parents or spouses. We've outlived the rest of our family and our friends, many of them. Or we're single parents trying to make ends meet. Or we're facing situations actually that nobody knows about. And we're suffering silently because, we're behind those fake smiles. Those stony, tough-looking faces. We begin to believe, begin to buy that lie. That nobody cares. And we're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to be silent. Suffer in silence. We're supposed to be the grown-ups here, all self-reliant and self-sufficient. Friends, it's not true. God speaks to us directly in this text from Isaiah this morning. God, our precious Lord, says to us, I'm right here. Take my hand. Dwell right now in the shelter of my love and in my strength. Abide in my shadow for life, because I'm standing right here, overshadowing you. God is casting this big shadow around us all, not to condemn us, not to blame us, but to embrace us and lift us up. Give us some coverage. Have our back. He's right here. And he's not just standing. He's walking beside you every step of the way, wherever you might go. But not just walking. Oh, he's also running. He's running out ahead of you to run interference for you like some big linebacker, right? Appropriate for Sunday, right? I'm just about to exhaust all my football knowledge, so I may need to have some help here. But, out there in front. And sometimes not just running ahead, but carrying you, like bench pressing, all the way to you to get you through those weak times, those weary times, when you can't put one foot in front of another. He'll do that. That's his job. That's his gift to you. And he will keep on doing it, keep on carrying you, keep on going ahead of you, keep on walking with you forever. Until you get those few yards ahead. Until you get all the way to the next score, or first down and score, and then you get to the end zone. On to the ultimate victory. He's there all the way. God, sounds like a local coach and a player, right? Team captain, quarterback. But most of all, we come back to God is your Father. Your everlasting Father. He's never going to go away. He's never going to cause you hurt. You are his kid, now and forever. As a baby, he bathed you in the waters of baptism. Think about that. A few years later, he fed you this holy meal, this same Holy Communion that we eat today. His own body and blood, the gift of his own Son and his own life to sustain sustain you and to bear you up on the wings of eagles. Yes. I said it. He promises to nourish you and wash you clean and lift you up, not just once, every day. Every day. And on that last day, to lift you up out of the grave. What a wondrous thought. To reassemble you and bring us as an assembly all back together, all God's people, raised from the dead, so that we can actually walk physically together in this great, amazing day to come. Walk with our own God in God's own hands in Jesus. Hold his real hand and hold the hands of all the people we're missing right now. And all the people that are yet to come. Wow. As we walk and run and lay in the fields and watch the clouds of the new creation, which includes the new Mahoning Valley and the new me and the new you. Wow. God's good green earth made new. Our Father's world, obvious and present forevermore. Does that sound great? Well, hold on to that, as crazy as it sounds. Hold on to it. And hold on to each other. And hold the hands that you've got now. Because this is the promise of your everlasting God, your everlasting Father. He will raise you up on eagle's wings. He will bear you on the breath of dawn. His breath, his spirit, giving you strength for a new dawn, a new day, and every day. He will make you shine like the sun. And most of all, every day, he will hold you in the palm of his hand. The hand that is reaching out to you now. Take it. Let him lead the way. Let him bear you up and lead you through everything that bears you down.